Okay, so I have a whole pile of banned books here because I was really excited when Doris said that she wanted blogs or vlogs about this. I was thinking about it, in fact, and going through my bookshelves in my room, and the only book that ever really made a big impact on me that wasn't or couldn't have been a banned book was Anne of Green Gables. But I think that's just because I was young. Even one of my other favorite books, Macbeth, which has never been banned, I think really would be if it had been written now instead of, by Shakespeare. So I have here a whole pile of some of my banned books that were just, well, they were sitting next to my bed, getting in the way. So, The Golden Compass, but I didn't decide to talk about that one. Go Ask Alice, which as you can see is falling apart, both because of my use and my students' use, 4 bajillion times. Brave New World, I have 2 copies of this because I liked this cover so much. I actually have more than 2, but I brought down a couple of Cormier books, not the Chocolate War, but ones that I think are actually, if more people knew about them, they would be more challenged than the Chocolate War because they're a lot more violent. This my sister lent me. It's Scary Stories, one of those by Alvin Schwartz. Haven't read it for a long time, but they're fun. I have, of course, Harry Potter, which is one of my favorite books. It's one of my top 3. Catcher in the Rye, another good one. To Kill a Mockingbird. Here's a copy of Macbeth. Again, it wouldn't be challenged. It's not challenged because it was written by Shakespeare, but it would be if it had been written now because it has everything that people challenge. It has lots of violence. It has definite sexual overtones. It has witchcraft. People would be mad. The Color Purple. And I thought about talking about The Bluest Eye, which is another one of my favorites, but I opted not to. Any on My Mind wasn't on this list, but it is on most lists. Speak was almost what I picked to talk about. It's a pretty fantastic book, but instead I picked The Perks of Being a Wallflower. And yes, I have 3 copies of this just sitting by my bed, not counting any more that might be in my parents' basement or in my basement or any place else I could be possibly hoarding them. And the reason for that is people keep stealing it. It has gotten to the point that so many people steal this book from me that instead of lending it, I just buy people a copy as a gift. Students steal it all the time, though. People who do borrow it steal it all the time. And the reason is both because it is very frequently challenged and because a lot of people really love it, but I think not enough of you know about it. So, The Perks of Being a Wallflower is about a boy named Charlie. At least that's what we know from what we hear of him. And the story begins because he's writing a letter. His best friend has just committed suicide, and he's decided to start writing letters to this person that he doesn't know, just because he heard that he could have slept with someone and didn't at a party, so he thought that he would be a good person to start hearing about his problems. He starts high school, he doesn't have any friends left. His only friend committed suicide. And it's about Charlie's experiences in high school. A lot of people really take issue with this, including my students and some people who read it at the same time I did, because unlike Go Ask Alice and books like that deal with drugs, it's not moralistic. It has drugs in it. Charlie uses drugs. Other people use drugs around him. It has people who are gay in it. He doesn't pass judgment on any of that. It touches on some other themes that, again, none of it's passed judgment on. These things happen to Charlie, he takes it in stride, and he sees it as part of who he becomes. I picked this book to talk about, for one thing, because I think it's one that everyone should read. It has something in it that would offend nearly everybody, and it really opened my eyes. I found it in a young adult literature course, actually, when I was in college, and I was not happy about the course, but this is one of the first books I picked to read. A couple of girls couldn't say enough about it, and I thought they were kind of flaky, but the book sounded amazing, so I did pick it up. And I don't think there's a single book that's had a bigger impact on my life, and that includes Harry Potter. And part of it is because of the time that I read the book. It really was meaningful to me. I was going through absolutely the darkest time of my life, and Charlie's perspective really helped me to make some sense of that and realize that everybody goes through some things that are awful. He keeps saying, some people have it worse than you. Some people have it worse than you. They really do. And that resonated with me, and the farther it went along, the more I realized I really identified with Charlie. And there came to be reasons for that, but you don't find them out until very late in the book. I just thought this was absolutely amazing. You see through his eyes, and he's just so honest, and he's so innocent. And there are all of these things happening around him, but he still keeps this fresh perspective, and he doesn't become jaded, even though he has all kinds of reasons to be. I also really liked this book because music is very important to me, and when I finished the book, I looked up all of the songs that Charlie talks about. I don't recommend doing it before you finish the book because it might give too much away, but his books say a lot about who he is and what he's lived through and what his friends are like, and playlists are very important to him, so that was a meaningful way for me to, that was the first time I started making playlists about books too. I can't say enough about this. It sounds so cheesy to say a book changed your life, but this one really did for me. It's very funny, it's very honest, and it's just beautiful, and I hope you love it too.